Turkey's geopolitical evolution, from Western dependency to strategic realignment. Turkey, a nation that straddles Europe and Asia, has long occupied a unique and strategically significant position in global geopolitics. Historically, it has been treated as a third-class country by Western powers, neither fully welcomed into the European Union, EU, nor genuinely valued by the United States, US. For decades, Turkish leaders have been accused of compromising national interests to align with US agendas, perpetuating a cycle of dependency and economic stagnation. However, under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey appears poised for a significant geopolitical realignment, aiming to redefine its role on the global stage. Historical context and Western influence. Turkey's complex relationship with the West dates back to the early 20th century. Following the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk established the Republic of Turkey in 1923, emphasizing secularism and modernization. Ataturk's resistance to Western dominance, particularly the interests of the U.S. and influential families like the Rockefellers, disrupted immediate post-Ottoman plans for the region. His policies laid the foundation for a modern, independent Turkey, but his untimely death in 1938, allegedly due to poisoning, marked a turning point. After Ataturk's death, subsequent Turkish leaders, often perceived as corrupt, were accused of aligning with U.S. interests. This alignment was exemplified by Turkey's NATO membership in 1952, aimed at countering Soviet influence during the Cold War. However, it also entrenched Turkey's role as a subordinate partner, reliant on U.S. military and economic support. This relationship perpetuated Turkey's status as a junior partner in the Western alliance, limiting its geopolitical and economic autonomy. Erdogan's strategic shift. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's rise to power in 2003 marked a departure from the policies of his predecessors. Erdogan recognized the cycle of being used and discarded by Western powers and sought to break it. His administration has focused on strengthening ties with Asia and the Middle East, regions perceived as more aligned with Turkey's long-term interests and sovereignty. This strategic shift reflects a broader trend of diversifying Turkey's alliances and reducing its dependency on the West. In Europe, Hungary stands out as a solitary ally, contrasting with broader European reluctance to fully integrate Turkey. Despite decades of negotiations, Turkey's EU membership remains elusive, reinforcing its perception of being sidelined by Europe. This exclusion has driven Turkey to explore alternative alliances and economic partnerships. NATO in the European defense paradigm. A potential Turkish exit from NATO would significantly alter the geopolitical landscape. Such a move would weaken the alliance, reducing it to a U.S.-dominated entity and exposing deficiencies in Europe's defense capabilities against potential Russian aggression. Europe's military preparedness has long been questioned, with many countries heavily relying on U.S. support. Turkey's departure would exacerbate these vulnerabilities, compelling European nations to rethink their defense strategies. The U.S. is likely to go to great lengths to prevent Turkey from leaving NATO and joining BRICS, as these two moves are closely interconnected. BRICS, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represents an alternative economic and political bloc challenging Western hegemony. Turkey's inclusion in BRICS would signify a major realignment, potentially shifting global power dynamics. Energy politics and Western strategies. Western strategies, rooted in British colonial tactics, have historically involved manipulating regional borders and resources to maintain control. In Africa and the Middle East, borders were drawn with little regard for ethnic and cultural realities, leading to prolonged conflicts. Similar strategies were employed in Turkey to maintain control and dependency. A key aspect of this strategy involved restricting Turkey's energy independence. Despite Turkey's significant natural resources, including vast deposits of thorium and barium, successive Turkish leaders were pressured to avoid exploration and development. Thorium, a potential game-changer for nuclear energy due to its lower radioactive waste compared to uranium, has been particularly underutilized. Tragically, Turkish scientists leading thorium research died in a suspicious plane crash in the early 2000s, reportedly sabotaged by the CIA and Mossad. The incident, allegedly covered up by U.S. and Turkish authorities, underscores the deep infiltration of Turkey by foreign adversaries seeking to prevent its energy independence. Current geopolitical tensions. Turkey's discovery of substantial oil and gas reserves in the Black Sea and the eastern Mediterranean has intensified geopolitical tensions. The US and the UK, collaborating with Israel and Greece, have opposed Turkey's exploration efforts, undermining Turkey's maritime rights. There is a looming possibility that Western powers, particularly the US, France, and the UK, might attempt to instigate a conflict involving Greece and Israel to invade Cyprus, targeting Turkey's energy reserves. The war in Gaza, framed as an oil and gas conflict, reflects broader Western and Israeli ambitions to control regional energy resources. Similar motives are anticipated in potential conflicts involving Lebanon's offshore reserves. These actions illustrate a continued Western strategy of manipulating regional dynamics to secure energy resources, often at the expense of local sovereignty and stability. Internal challenges and future prospects. Erdogan's administration faces significant internal challenges, including pervasive corruption and powerful vested interests. The entrenched influence of entities like the Rockefellers and Rothschilds complicates efforts to achieve genuine independence and prosperity. Despite these obstacles, Erdogan's strategic vision seeks to reposition Turkey as a central player in a new geopolitical landscape. Strengthening ties with Asia and the Middle East, along with efforts to join BRICS and exit NATO, could herald a new era of independence and influence for Turkey. These moves would enhance Turkey's strategic autonomy and economic prospects, but are likely to encounter strong opposition from the US and its allies. Conclusion. Turkey stands at a pivotal juncture, with the potential to redefine its geopolitical stance under Erdogan's leadership. While historical ties with the West have been fraught with exploitation and dependency, a strategic pivot towards Asia and the Middle East, coupled with efforts to join BRICS and exit NATO, could transform Turkey's role on the global stage. This path is laden with challenges, necessitating astute leadership and strategic foresight to overcome entrenched opposition and achieve long-term national interests.